Teamer channel. Hope you all doing good. By the way, guys, I hope the comments does work today. I did a stream yesterday and it wasn't working for you guys, so I hope it does work. Sorry if it doesn't. I don't know what's happening, but I've got a very special guest. I'm joined by Chelsea fan Nipun, and honestly, I actually respect you for coming on today because I know it would have been really tough to talk about the game, but I know it might be good for you to kind of have a bit of a rant today about how you're feeling.
Ranted in my video already.
Yeah, check out his channel as well. I'll talk about that at the end as well. But yeah, how are you feeling? I know it's probably not the best question to ask you right now.
Football, I'm doing quite well. Well, I'll correct myself. Outside of Chelsea men's, I'm doing quite well because the women's team hold a 1-0 lead against Barcelona. So I'm hoping we hold on to that.
Yeah, they've done really good stuff. I mean, I just said to you off air, like, even though Arsenal this season have done good, it still to me was a surprise in the way we beat you. Like, during the first half, I do think we were good. We just weren't clinical enough. And I also think you guys had a really good opportunity to get level, and you did have some good chances. So the first half was obviously, I thought it was good from Chelsea. I thought it was quite good. But for the second half, what do you think went wrong for Chelsea? Do you think Arsenal just came out the better side, or what do you feel about that?
I think it's a bit of both. Mm-hmm. I mean, credit to Mikel Arteta and Arsenal. Look, don't get me wrong. I hate I hate Arsenal with a passion. but on a footballing scale, if you guys win the league, you will deserve it.
Yeah.
I don't let tribalism turn into delusion. I don't let my hate turn into delusion.
Yeah. Yeah, I always say, if Man City do win the league, I'll say fair play to them because they'll take the chances. I feel like sometimes you do have to put your hands up and say, they were a better team, or so I do think it was. I still can't process it all, to be honest, because I think for me, before the game, we heard rumours about Palmer not playing, and I didn't really believe it, because I've seen it a lot.
Me neither. I thought it was, when Carlo Ancelotti, when we had Carlo Ancelotti and Sky Sports reported that Didier Drogba had malaria.
Yeah.
But then Carlo Ancelotti said, no, he's playing. I honestly thought it was something like that.
Yeah.
Argentina was playing mind games.
Yeah, I thought it was mind games as well. Like, I didn't believe it, and then when I saw the lineup, I thought, gosh, it really is real. And a lot of people have said if he did play, things would have been different. And I think, in the first half, you might have taken a chance, but if we're being honest, it's not Parma FC, it's Chelsea FC, it's a team. So I personally don't think it would have been massively different. But what about you?
I still think you would have won the game, but I think we would have scored.
Yeah.
He would have assisted or scored a goal himself.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been like 5-2 or 5-3, but you guys would have still won.
Yeah, and he would have taken his chance. He's very clinical. I think that's the only difference you would have seen. He would have scored, but you probably still wouldn't have won that game. But he has shown that this season he's been such an important player, and I do actually really like him myself. As a football fan, I think he's a joy to watch. And do you know what? I want to get into it, because obviously Arsenal this season have done really well. I mean, I know we've gone through a little bit of a blip, we losing to Villa, which could affect the league, the Champions League. It was really difficult to take. I mean, for you, I know you spoke about your predictions before a bit, but did it surprise you that Arsenal were able to score 5 goals past you last night?
No. Absolutely not, but because look, I know my team. I see a lot of people on Twitter saying, "Oh no, it'll be hard." No. Look, one thing, we're being managed by a clown. Yes, he's a clown. We're being managed by the Argentine Tim Sherwood, and that's probably an insult to Tim Sherwood.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously we've done good to score a lot of goals, but I personally think when pressure's on us, this is the time if we'll crack or if we will get better over it. So I feel like it's a really difficult time for us at the season, but I'm just really happy to see, us get through that. And I'm just going to jump into Chelsea this season because for me, as someone outside, I don't know what I really expected of you this season. Maybe I thought you would be, the top six because you've gone through a bit of a difficult stage. But I just wanted to get your thoughts on Pochettino because for me, I I generally don't know what to think. Like as someone outside, obviously I don't watch Chelsea all the time, but do you feel like you're going in the right direction with him? Would you give him more time, or do you think it's not working with him?
Look, if you'd asked me back in the early half of the season, like November, December,
Mhm.
I would have said, yeah, give him at least 2 seasons and see and and see what he does from there. But no, I'm not giving him two
Mhm.
seasons. In fact, I think he either he walks in the summer or our owners replace him. One of those
Yeah.
things. Either way, I do not see him lasting beyond this season,
Mhm.
regardless of. Look, it would be so typical of
Mm.
Pochettino that he's told by the owners, "You have to make European football, or you're
Yeah.
getting sacked." It would be typical of him. Look, and I would never want Chelsea to lose anything. The same
Mhm.
way you never want Arsenal to lose a game. But it would
Yeah.
be typical that Pochettino shithouses a European spot and they keep him on for another season.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what? I do get that because I think at the same time, even though you're going through a difficult time, you can't accept, falling behind too much. And the thing is with Arsenal, we've had some difficult times. I remember when we lost, I think it was 5-0 to Man City, and I looked at Arteta and I thought, where do we go from here? And I think you guys are in such a similar position to us because it is obviously really tough where you are. And as a club, I grew up, Chelsea were a top side, and now you're obviously facing some difficult times. So I definitely think you need to. Yeah, it's really difficult. I think you need to pick yourselves up, and I don't really know where you go from here. And I just going to read this out from Mike. I just want to say hi to a few people. Hi, Wookie Cookie. Hope you're okay. Good to see you in here. I'm just going to read out this. Mike says, "Hi, Sophie and Nipun. Thoughts on Nicholas Jackson? As an Arsenal fan, I'll admit that it's sad to see you struggling, considering the strikers you've had in the past, and he's a massive downgrade on those. What are your thoughts on that?"
He is a massive. Out of all the strikers I can remember having at
Mhm.
Chelsea, he's probably not the worst one, but
Yeah.
he's definitely down there. Saying we took an L from Woodruff. Chelsea fans are saying we took an L.
On Modric.
No, I disagree with what.
Do you know what? I like Modric actually. I think Trossard is so good for us, but ultimately Modric, if he was in his Arsenal team, I reckon he would do just as good. I think they're both two good players, but it's hard to know really, isn't it? I do like him.
I'm going to say something that will ruffle a few feathers in the Chelsea fan base.
Hmm.
I hear a lot of Chelsea fans saying, "Oh, if we had Trossard instead of Mudryk and you had it would be no." Trossard would put in the same horrible numbers for us
Hmm.
if we had him, and Mudryk would be putting in the same numbers for
Hmm.
Trossard if you had Mudryk.
Yeah,
It's not. It's not a player thing. It's a manager thing. I'm telling you, a better
yeah,
manager.
I agree. I feel as though one player for me wouldn't change your team. I feel as though you're a team that really needs, a lot of work doing. I mean, obviously Palmer, I absolutely think he's amazing, and it's a good signing, definitely. I wanted to get your thoughts on Sterling because I just want to know from your point of view, because I remember, at City, he was really good, and it feels like he's fallen off a bit. I know he came off the bench, in the game, but What do you make of him? Do you feel like you'd want to keep him? Like, what do you think about
I
him?
keep him as a bit part player. Like,
Mhm.
I wouldn't start him every game,
Yeah.
but he'd be a good bench option.
Mhm.
Like, say if we need a goal,
Mhm. Yeah, you bring
and
him on.
say if we're like a goal up and we just need to we need to kill the game off. That's like he's a good player off the bench.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's good to have the option of a player to do that, and yeah, I think he's got a lot of qualities. I see a good player in him. I just think he obviously is probably better to do that. I wanted to talk about something that might have been a bit controversial. Obviously, Kai Havertz has moved on. He's come to Arsenal, and when we first signed him, I felt a bit like I wasn't excited, I wasn't unhappy, I felt very unsure because when it was at Chelsea, I know he did score in the Champions League final, but he was known for missing a lot of chances. And obviously, he's come to Arsenal, and I think he's done pretty good. When he scored those 2 goals against you guys, he did celebrate a bit. Do you find that disrespectful, or do you just feel like that's just football? Like, how do you feel about how he celebrated?
Um, both. It
Mhm.
was both disrespectful, but it's also football at the same time.
Yeah.
Um, but you have to also remember that our fans didn't treat him the best either.
Mhm.
So, look, as much as I didn't like the fact that he celebrated against us, given the fact that we essentially gave him a career, he
Mhm.
had every right to. And look, and I think some of our fans deserve it. I'm not saying all of them, I'm just
Yeah.
saying some of them.
Yeah. I mean, I think, I do feel like with Havertz, since he's come to Arsenal, I feel like he's needed that fresh start, and I'm just so happy with how it's going personally. I wanted to read this question out for you. Chelsea need at least 7 or 6 players in the summer. Do you think you'll get those, or do you think it depends on the manager? Also, I know it's last week, but what are your thoughts on the penalty situation?
What penalty are we talking about?
I
The
don't
s-
remember.
I don't know which one. What
Which
penalty?
Let us know which penalty one it was because we've forgotten.
Because I remember watching the semi-final against Man City at Wembley from.
Oh, it might be that one. Yeah, it might be the FA Cup one.
That's not just a penalty. That's a sending off. That's
Yeah.
unstylish.
Do you know what? I saw that, and do you know what's really confusing is that, do you know, with like the officiating in the Premier League, I genuinely never know what is a penalty anymore. Literally, I find it so confusing to understand. I do agree with you actually. I think if that was Arsenal, I'd want that to be a penalty, and that would have changed the game definitely. So I do agree with that. But regarding the summer, like Mike said, do you think you're bringing more players in? It's hard because you do have a lot of players, but a lot of them aren't really fitting how you're playing. So you would need to bring the right players into your team.
It all depends on the manager.
Yeah.
Say, say if we sack Pochettino and hire someone like a Ruben Amorim,
Hmm.
that name's going around a lot. Like, I mean, he's rejected Liverpool, so this is the perfect opportunity for Todd Bowley to say, you know what? What do you want? Um,
Hmm.
or we could, or that the Inter managers, yes, Simone Inzaghi, buy out his contract. Chelsea have, and I think he could do a really job for Chelsea, Simone Inzaghi, because Chelsea have a good history with Italians, both
Yeah.
on the manager side and the player side. Like like we had Jorginho, um, Carlo Ancelotti, Antonio Conte, Maurizio Sarri.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's yeah, I think you definitely need a big summer, I do think. I mean, it's hard to know where you go from here. I think you've just got to, like you said, win your remaining games. Because I think the least you'd expect on a bad season is, to get Europa League. I think It is going to be tough. Mike says the one against Everton when there were a few fighting with each other, that shows the disarray at the moment with Chelsea. Do you know what? Do you know that was I watched that back. And the fact they were all arguing over the penalty, and I think you were already winning by a few goals. Like, I was just quite surprised personally.
I'm sorry, even if it's by 6 goals, the penalty, unless it's in a penalty shootout, has
Yeah.
to be taken by the designated penalty taker,
Mhm.
which is Cole Palmer. At Chelsea, it's Cole Palmer.
Yeah, because do you know what? I mean, Odegaard, Saka, they usually are really good at it, but it's up to the person if they want to give it to someone else to take it, and it's absolutely their choice. So I know when I saw that, I was a bit confused. I know it got a lot of uproar online about it because it was pretty, pretty crazy after you were still winning really well. But I did want to ask you a bit about the league with Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool. As I mentioned before, we obviously lost to Villa, and that could affect, the rest of the season. But obviously, we're still, winning our games. Yesterday, I thought it was a really convincing win. As much, I do feel like Chelsea did make it easy for us, but I also think we worked very hard for our goals, and we are proven to be a good side. But who do you think can win the league? Because at this moment, I tried to take it game by game, but it's hard to know. I mean, I know our goal difference is really good. But how are you feeling about the title race? Who are you thinking could do it?
I think it goes down to the final game of the season, if I'm
Yeah.
honest with you. So it's between you, Man
Mhm.
City, and Liverpool.
Yeah.
So one of you win the league, in my opinion. It's too early to call who it is, but one of
Yeah,
you.
I agree. Yeah, I do feel like at this moment in time, you can't really call it. Like, even though Arsenal are doing good, Man City are doing good, I mean, Liverpool this season, I knew they would come back stronger. But like you say, I do think it could go down to the last game. I do think it will go down to the last game, and it'll be quite exciting for a neutral to watch it. But yeah, the title race is not over. I think it's probably really exciting to watch. I wanted just to speak on a few of these. Chelsea Club, in my opinion, is a club full of individuals all out for themselves, no team chemistry, no cohesion. They're not a team. What do you think of that? Do you agree?
You know
Or
where it stems down from? When it comes to the team, it stems down from the manager.
yeah.
The mentality always comes down from the manager, regardless of the team. Like
Mhm.
look at Arsenal, for example.
Mhm.
All your players are like spitting images. Well, not spitting image, but like
Yeah.
they think a lot like Mikel Arteta. Now go to Man City. Most of their players think like Pep Guardiola,
Mhm.
and or Liverpool they think like Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah, I do think a manager does have a big impact because, say Arteta, for example, with Kai Havertz, I think Havertz, when he came to Arsenal, I think he was lacking a lot of confidence, and I do think obviously Havertz has worked hard and he takes his chances, and that's on him. But Arteta has really improved him as a player, and I do feel like a manager has a lot of responsibility with players and how they perform as well. But I do agree. I mean, obviously, Arsenal a little while ago were really we were seen as like a banter team, and we have come a long way. And people might say, Arteta's had a lot of time. If Pochettino had maybe the time Arteta's got, would things be different? I mean, I know at Spurs, he obviously got to a final. He never really won anything. I mean, I've always seen Pochettino as a good manager, but like Arteta hasn't really got over the line like Pochettino hasn't. So can you understand that question that people might ask about him if more time?
Look, I just um, I just don't see. Look, I hear what everyone is saying. Oh, he got. Look, it's Spurs at the end of the day. What?
Yeah.
They're a cursed team.
Yeah.
So and they've put that curse into their managers as well. And
Yeah.
now I've seen a lot of people saying like they give Ange Postecoglou. Like I've seen one Chelsea fan saying, "Oh, we had to try and I'd take Ange Postecoglou from Tottenham." No, I don't want. What I mean, what's the point? If that happens, I'd rather keep Pochettino because you're
Yeah,
literally
there's no point, yeah.
replacing an ex-Tottenham manager with the current one. That's
Lit
literally no difference.
Exactly, and it's really hard because you need someone that's really won things, and you've got to understand why, if they came here, what would they bring to the team? How would they improve? So, as much as he's doing a good job at Spurs, it's hard when you're at Chelsea. Chelsea have been winning titles for a long time, being well in the Champions League. So it's a different standard. And I'm an Arsenal fan. I hate Spurs, but it is in their nature to bottle things, or they don't really ever win anything. So it is different.
That's more to do on their owners than anything else, though, Sophie. Let's
Yeah.
be because this is from when I don't know how young you are. I say young because I never ask a woman how old they are. Yeah,
No,
so when I was growing up, Spurs were actually a decent cup team. Like
yeah.
they, I think it was your ex-manager
hmm
that won them a trophy, Lord Graham.
I know that is crazy. Obviously, that was before my time, but it is crazy that happened. I mean, they haven't really won much for a while, but yeah, I mean, obviously we've got Spurs at the weekend as well, which honestly I do think it will be a tough game, but we should be winning that. Like if we don't win, I honestly don't know. I think I
Well,
see it.
you don't have
Yeah,
a good record, and I know you won there last season.
yeah, but that was
You
only one
generally
time,
don't
really.
have a good record at White Hart Lane.
Yeah, that's the thing because if we were at home, I'd probably say to you, I feel more confident. Like I feel confident we can win, but I just think it's a difficult type of task because both teams won't want to lose. And for me, if we draw any games from now to the rest of the season, I kind of take that as a loss because we can't be dropping points. And I do think we've got the hardest fixtures out of Man City and Liverpool. Um, so it is tough, really, in that position. But um, Bella says Chelsea is in a confused state. What's bad and what's good is no longer there. They're in a grey area right now. But Arsenal were in an area like that a few years ago. So things, it depends what you do in the summer as well.
Look, I think
Uh,
we're going through a similar patch that you guys were going through.
yeah,
So I look, I think we fix this in a
hmm
few. I think in the next, let's say 4 or 5 years, we're back in the same place we were. We're in the same. We'll probably be in the same place as you in the next 4 or 5 years
yeah,
because
yeah,
football goes in cycles. Like Man City, for example, they won't always win the Premier League. I know they're good
yeah.
right now, but let's not forget. Let's not forget how much Pep actually has a lot to do with it, because he's not going to be there forever.
Yeah, exactly. And it will come to an end. And this season, if you look at it, if Arsenal or Liverpool did, beat Man City to the league, it just shows you that even though we don't have the squad Man City have, we are still able to compete. And it is hard competing with Man City's squad because it's a joke. If also Liverpool have a few injuries, our season is pretty much over. But if they have injuries, it's obviously a different situation. So it is hard, it really is. This is actually a good question, and I was thinking of asking you this myself. Do you see a world where Thomas Tuchel comes back to Chelsea?
Potentially,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't entertain the idea because it's like going back to your ex. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you
And
know what? Yeah.
I've been crying for our owners to learn from their mistakes, and hiring Thomas Tuchel will mean they haven't learned from their mistakes, because I know people are saying, "Oh, they fired Tuchel because the board is this, that, and the other." Let's not forget that Tuchel has a history of
Mhm.
falling out with with owners. Like, he fell out with Dortmund's owner. Not so sure about Bayern Munich. He fell out with Dortmund's owners. He fell out with PSG's owners. So I'm looking more at the manager than
Mhm.
the owners.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think owners take a lot of responsibility. I just wanted to say hi to Ray. Lovely to see
Right.
you here. Yeah, I do agree with you. I do feel as though, like, when Arsenal were going through what you're going through, um, as much as Arteta might have got a few things wrong, the owners are the ones that are accepting this. And if you're a big club, it's hard really, because if I look at us a few years ago, I look at us now. I'm glad we've kept Arteta, but at the time, you do think why? Because we weren't going in the right direction. Um, but I do think it's hard. The owners do need to take responsibility, and you know what? With the Kroenkes, I remember there was protests against them, and honestly, I think it was good that we did that. And I know with Chelsea, I think time will tell if he is good enough to manage Chelsea. It is hard because I do think Thomas Tuchel. I do think um he should have stayed. I'm not saying that he would have won you things or that. I'm just saying that I just feel like he's probably better than
He
Pochettino.
would have won. Look, if he had stayed, in my opinion, he would have won us at least another trophy, maybe a
Yeah.
Champions League, or maybe not the league, but maybe like the Champions League or the Europa League or the FA Cup, one of those things. He would have definitely won us one more trophy.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I do agree with that. I do think that could have happened possibly. Chelsea has players to go toe to toe with Man City. I would fear them next season. I mean, do you know what? You do have.
I, if I wasn't a Chelsea fan, I wouldn't fear us if we still had Pochettino. You do not need
Mhm.
to fear Chelsea so long as we have the Argentine Tony Pulis as our manager. That's all I have to say.
I mean, I think when I went, do you know what? I watched the final, right? Not the final. I watched the semi-final. I'm pretty sure it was of Man City, and I actually thought, that was yours to win, really, if you took your chances. And I didn't think you were bad at all. And that's why I thought going into the game yesterday, it would have been a lot more difficult because you had that performance. But then Palmer obviously is a big part to play in how you play as well. So that was a big blow for you guys.
I honestly think, despite every report saying otherwise, I think Pochettino has lost the dressing room.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, I used to really think that with Arteta at times. I think with Unai Emery when he was at Arsenal, I definitely think he did lose the dressing room. It's really hard to tell, as an outsider. Do you know when you're watching, has he lost the dressing room, or is he just really, or the players not understanding or getting him? It is hard. I mean, I think in the season with Chelsea, it's definitely depends what position you get because, I mean, I know Arsenal finished 8th a couple of times, and to be honest with you, that was not good enough. I mean, that's not good enough for Chelsea if that did happen. Um, but I know you've got the chance to win a lot of your remaining games and hopefully get some sort of Europe. I mean, the conference thing, it's weird because I don't see a team like you or Arsenal or Man City, Liverpool for that. I see the Conference League more like a West Ham, like we say, a Villa to go for that. So I wouldn't I wouldn't feel excited about going to that, but you've got chances
One
to get
extra, one
trophies.
extra, well, one extra competition to win is always a
Yeah,
good.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's always opportunities to win things, which I think it's always positive. I'm going to read this one out. I agree that Tuchel should never go back. I wouldn't mind him at Arsenal though. I do like him. Do you know what I've always had my worries about with Arteta, right? I do love Arteta, but you know the fact if we don't win the season, I get this team is young and it's great. It's a bit, it's getting more experience, but Arteta has struggled to get us over the line in high pressure moments, and I do worry if he's able to do that. Do you think Arteta is able to win us a league title in the next few seasons or this season?
Look, if I'm honest with you, um, I don't think if you want to win the league,
Hmm.
I think you need to get rid of Mikel Arteta.
Mm.
That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Arteta has shown that he's a good manager and he can get us from being eighth to challenging and back to where we belong. But then it's another question if he's able to get us over that line. So I think only time will tell. And that's the only thing that I do feel as though I'm a little bit, hesitant about. I do support Arteta, and you can see we are really good at the moment, but that obviously is another question about that as well. Um, Based on Chelsea's running, they might not even get it. I'm going to have a look actually because I want to see who you guys have got coming up. I mean, and then you've got Villa. That one's going to be hard because Villa want to get. And you've got Spurs as well, West Ham. Brighton, Bournemouth, Forest. I mean, I think the Spurs game might be. I think the Spurs and the Villa game might be. But how are you feeling about the games you've got coming up?
I'm not too sure.
Hmm.
Look, I'm not con. Look, they just need the. Yeah, I've been hearing that a lot. I'm
Yeah.
not too sure about the Villa game. I think that
Hmm.
could go one of two ways. That we either drop points
Yeah.
or win.
Mm.
Tottenham. If we lose to Tottenham, it's gonna get so. I think there will genuinely be protests if we lose to Tottenham.
Yeah.
Because that's something our fan base look. If there's anything Chelsea fans hate less, it's than losing to Arsenal. It's losing to Tottenham.
Yeah, that's even worse. Yeah, I completely get you. Yeah, I mean, I know you guys do usually quite good against them, but it's a game where it yeah. Also, apparently Liverpool are still losing, so
I
that's
just
quite interesting.
yeah.
I watched a bit of that. Yeah, Everton do seem a lot better. I mean, it's going to be tough. I mean, I think the Spurs game you definitely should win. But the Premier League, I've really learned that you can't predict any games. I don't underestimate teams because you never really know what can happen. So I definitely think you've got to take each game as it comes. But it's going to be interesting how it ends though the season. Top four is another interesting one. I do hope Villa get it. I think it would be really amazing for the club to get it because no one really put them down to get in that place. So I think it's going to be good. The league's exciting, and I just want to ask you a bit about your YouTube channel before we round the stream up because I thought people could check out a bit about what you do. So do you want to just tell people where they can find you and what sort of content you do?
You can find me on. I have two YouTube channels. One is my lifestyle channel where I upload videos
Mhm.
on restaurants and some and whenever I fly. I really like traveling, so I always video my experiences on that. So you can follow me on the British Lifestyle Blogger. You can also follow me on my main channel, which is NS Sports TV, currently on 765 subscribers. But I am hoping by the end of this year to be completely monetized.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I love your stuff as well, and please do check it out and do subscribe. Let's get you to 1K. But you're doing a really good job. And it's been so lovely to chat with you today, and it has been really lovely to chat with you guys as well that have watched this as well. Thank you so much for coming on because I know it wasn't easy really to talk about yesterday's game.
Look, I'm used to it. And I'm
Yeah.
one of those people who hide.
Hmm. Yeah. Do you know what? I'm the same, if Arsenal have gone through in the past really difficult losses, and I think it's just you got to just accept. You got to take responsibility and accept the fact you weren't good enough in that game that Arsenal aren't. Um, so I do think it's been good to chat with you from Chelsea's point of view, and it has been really good to do that. I hope you guys that are watching us have enjoyed this because I've really enjoyed it. It's been great to chat with you today. And yeah, before I do go, please do hit the like button for me. Do subscribe, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.